Welcome to our Devil. Today we are taking a look at entitled parents. Our first story is from Oak Carpet 9023. My mom would text herself things she thought I was saying about her as proof to ground me. When I was 13, my family decided to no longer have a relationship with my mom, and that also meant cutting themselves off from my little brother and I. I completely understand why now. When I got my first phone, my mom would have me turn it in to her at 7 p.m. I was not allowed to have my phone with me at night. If she noticed a text chain was missing, then automatically assumed it was because I was talking about her, when actually I was talking about embarrassing sexual fanfics with my friends. When this happened, my mom the next day would come into my room showing me some random number texting her saying I was talking to my aunt, my uncle, or even my dad about her, who I never even talked to my whole life. I would always tell her this never happened and she would just take my phone. I would realize later that she would also start texting my friends and even boyfriend later on, acting like me. She would do this all throughout high school, playing the victim card and running to me crying. I was so confused, wondering who the duck is getting me in trouble like this all the time. I would comfort her and tell her I never said this, but she never believed me. In college, my freshman year, she was arrested for identity theft again and didn't have much time to fight me on her delusions. Junior year, a political movement started and me and her were both on other sides of the movement. I hated coming home because I wanted to avoid politics, but she would always say some ignorant dollar hit and I would always have to correct her. I texted my friends back at college how much I really despise my mom's mentality because we got into a big argument. That day she comes into my room saying, "Look what one of your friends sent me." Another random number telling my mom that she is racist and claiming to be my friend. This was the best part. I looked at her and said, "None of my friends sent that. I just asked them all and they all said no." She asked if I was gonna deny it and I told her no. I said that I was telling my friends how dumb you are. Started crying right in front of me, asking why I would say such hurtful things about her to my friends. I think in that moment I had a realization. My whole childhood and teen life this psycho was texting herself mean things she thought I was saying about her, to make me feel guilty for things I never did. She wanted me to beg, cry, tell her how much I love her, and tell her those were lies. The minute I denied it broke her. It has been 2 years and we do not talk anymore. A few days during no contact she would text me on random numbers saying she is going to ruin my life. I would screenshot this and show it to my brother. He would tell me, "Oh, mom is crying because that same number is texting her mean stuff too." So she never really stopped her bull. Different number now. But just feel silly that she did this my whole life and it took so long to realize. Edit. I'm not going to lie, everyone's support has brought a tear to my eye. Reddit has been a place for me to vent about all the trauma my mom has done. It makes me feel believed and noticed that I'm not crazy. She made me feel so alone and so forgotten that it has been very hard to understand if everything I experience was real or not. Thank you all again. Comment by InVain8181. Comment by DumbMale0na. There is a subreddit named Raised by Narcissist. I think you should take a look on it. What your mother does is crazy. Comment by All She Needs Is a Burner. Don't feel bad for not knowing. Your brain was protecting you while you were in a situation you really couldn't do anything about. I mean, I know that you still will feel that way. But combat your inner critic by telling yourself that your brain did the right thing at the time. Our next story is from Vervain Analysis 333. Entitled Abusive Brother-in-Law Wants to Drop His Daughter at My Home Whenever He Feels Like It. Husband blames me for not allowing it. I, Shannon, 33 female, have been married to my husband Tony, 34 male, for 13 years. We have a daughter Janelle, 12 female. It has been a very rocky 13 years because of Tony, his brother Miles, 31 male, and family. Let me give you a little backstory. In 2020, Miles is diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder and the family has done nothing but enable it. He started arguing with Janelle while she was talking to his mother, her grandmother. I came out of the room because I heard it in the hallway and he was literally facing down, 6 feet 2 inches man, a 10-year-old girl, threatening to put his hands on her because she talked back to him. I stood between him and told him he's not going to put his hands on anyone. His mother tried to quiet him and get him out the house. while Tony is sitting outside on the porch listening to everything that's happening. I asked Tony why he didn't do anything and he said his mother had it under control. I was seething and couldn't believe it. A month later, Miles comes with his daughter Jessica, now 6 female. I'm in the shower and I hear him arguing with my daughter saying, "I'ma put my hands on you. Your father and mother can't do anything about it." I immediately came out the shower but he was gone and Jessica was there. I told Janelle to put her clothes on, we're leaving the house. Called my husband and told him we're leaving and Jessica is in the house. Miles returns and sees us waiting outside for an Uber. He starts berating us to the top of his lungs, calling us all kinds of names. We quickly went into the Uber when it came. He came up to the Uber and punched the window on the side I was sitting, telling us to go. I called the police when I arrive at my parents' place. They take my statement, give me a report, then leave. I heard he was harassing people in the streets after we left, berating them the same way. I told my husband that Miles need to be taken to the hospital or else he will end up in jail or worse. He told his parents and they did nothing. Instead had him where they were working, watching him. He saw my husband come by. Miles then slipped away from them and came to the house. After things escalated drastically, the police was called and he was taken to jail. It is now 2022. I have not seen any of them, Miles and family, since that incident. My husband's birth family has been trying to get us to be around them when we'd rather swallow hot coals. Mother's Day. He asked my husband if he can bring Jessica to see Janelle. Out of the blue. I almost choked because of the audacity and said no. Told my husband that no one has apologized or atoned for anything, including him. Jessica told me in 2020 that her father etc. told her not to trust me and I don't love her. It hurt her because she said she told them that I do love her. I've had her since she was a baby, on and off. How could I not? I also told him that in the future, his mother can bring her by when we're ready. A week later, when I went to a store 2 blocks away, Janelle's grandfather brings Jessica and Miles over. Her grandpa usually knocks the door and she goes out to greet him. But this time Miles and Jessica was at the door. She had a panic attack while Miles apologized for his past behavior and tried to give her a hug. Janelle said she was sick and be backed up. Jessica, however, came in and spoke for a few minutes with her. My daughter called me immediately after in a panic, telling me what happened. The way my heart dropped into my toes and rolled around. It took me less than 5 minutes to be back home. Once again I called my husband and told him what happened. Then had him put an extra bolt on the door. Today, my husband calls me and asks if Jessica can stay for a few hours. I said no. You have to give me a bigger heads up. She can come by next Saturday. About a half hour later, Janelle and I, hear a knock on the door. I check by the window and see Jessica and her father. Now I'm confused because I definitely said next Saturday. Plus I don't want Miles here for obvious reasons. They leave after a while. Then my husband comes home while I'm once again in the shower. I hear a little voice after I turn the water off, and who's in the kitchen? Jessica. I told her, "Hi baby. You can come next Saturday. We're going to have a fun day." All while Tony was ushering her out the door. I asked Janelle how she got in here and she said Tony brought her inside. While my husband was leaving, I told him to make sure the doors are locked because I don't want anyone coming in here. He said nobody is trying to come in here and I mentioned his brother knocking at the door. Clearly he had no idea. Then said his brother was leaving Jessica with him. Impossible because he was at work. He's staring at me intensely and I asked if there was a problem. He starts shouting at me, saying I'm being stupid because I don't want Jessica to come over. That I'm holding on to the past. He's making it seem as if I just don't want her to come over. I want to keep her away from Janelle. I tell him to get out of my face and go. He continues to shout and then proceeds to bump his chest into mine, still naked, fresh out the shower. I tell him to stop before I call my brother. He tells me to call him, knowing he will do absolutely nothing if my brother were to show up, and continues harassing me. I told him if he touches me I'm going to call the police. He said call them for what, then proceeds to poke me passive-aggressively, trying to egg me on into retaliating. I continue to tell him to leave. He has to go back to work. He finally leaves. My mother thinks I should drop it and let Jessica come over whenever. When I know they just want a free babysitter, plus I don't want to deal with these issues anymore. Too long didn't read. Entitled husband and his family is mad at me for not allowing my abusive brother-in-law, who has schizoaffective disorder and threatened to hit my daughter more than once, and is being enabled by the family to drop off his daughter that I've had off on since she was a baby, but haven't seen in 2 years. My husband called me stupid today, screamed at me until he chest bumped me, saying I'm keeping her from our daughter while holding on to the past. Update. Janelle and I have taken some of our things and are currently staying with a friend. We live in NY. We left after he went to work today. I'm open to options and looking into the best next steps from here. My daughter is very intelligent. She knows that what his family doing is wrong and is very outspoken when it comes to them, which they don't like. Thank you so much for your responses. I'm overwhelmed in the best way. Thank you for validating that I wasn't overreacting and actually abused on levels I didn't consider, especially from my husband. Comment by Mysterious Force 399. Why are you even with your husband? Get the hell out of there and take your daughter? Is this what you want for your daughter? Is this the kind of relationship you want her to have in the future, because this is what you are showing her and that it's okay? Comment by Panda Elephant. You and your daughter need an exit plan. Comment by Lemon Lime Aardvark. So, up until the last little bit of the story, this could have just been that you and your husband weren't quite on the same page. But given that he shouted at you, called you stupid, bumped you with his chest, and actually poked you to goad you into retaliating, this is all very concerning behavior. And your mother isn't helping matters by basically telling you to forget about it. I'm no expert on the matter, so I don't know if your husband's outburst there crosses the line into actually being abusive. But I would definitely say it's massive red flags for potential future abuse. The fact that he sweeps his brother's behavior under the rug, especially when it potentially puts his own child at risk. The fact that he doesn't respect your wishes on personal space from his brother. The fact that he minimizes your concerns and overrules you. These are all very bad things in a marriage. Our next story is from Pick a Switch. Mom tried to invite herself on my trip, told me I'm not allowed to move away. I won a trip to New York City through my work for hitting some high metrics. And I called my mom to tell her. I was feeling proud of myself and thought she would be proud too. Here's a quick rundown of the conversation. Immediately asking if she could come with me and getting angry when I told her no, because that it probably wouldn't be best for a woman in her 60s who is fresh off back surgery to go limping around NYC. Demanding that I bring her a sandwich from Katz's. Sure mom. I'll buy a sandwich. Travel to the airport with the sandwich. Fly 2 hours home with the sandwich. And then drive an hour to your place to deliver the ducking sandwich to you. What is she thinking? Asking if I'd move to New York City if the raise was significant enough. Then getting angry when I said yes. You can't. It's too far. How do you expect me to drive there? I'm not expecting you to do shit. It's not about you. What the hell, lady? I can't even celebrate doing well at work without this woman draining the life out of me. And then she gets pissy when I don't want to spend time with her. God give me strength. Comment by Obsidian58. Well, apparently moving to New York City is not a bad idea for totally a different reason. And congrats. Enjoy the trip. Comment by Megorio. Sounds like my mother-in-law. She lost the privilege of knowing what's going on in our lives because she always finds a way to ruin it. It's hard keeping things from her, but try it out. It's so nice having happy secrets. Comment by the Booty Cheek Ripper. I won a trip to Hawaii when I was 19 and I was guilt-tripped into giving it to my family. Who would look after the house when you're gone? Who would take care of your aunt when you're gone? I have been taking care of my aunt since I was 16. You are the responsible one. We can't rely on your sister, so my parents. All my siblings and their spouses went on a all-paid-for trip to Hawaii while I stay home with my disabled aunt. Narcissist. You got to love them. I hope you enjoyed your trip to New York. Our next story is from Willive18. Helping parents to grow up. This is a vent. But first, a little bit of backstory. Dad was a sailor before he retired. The kind of guy who you would go and tell him, I scored 99/100. And he would reply to you, well, if it was a 100 I would reward you, kind of guy. Mom is not working and she is the kind of person she will always compare you to someone else. For me that someone was her goddaughter. Thank God she can't do that anymore. Both have the habit of asking and comparing everything with money. Hey mom/dad. I got a new job that I have been chasing for months and it looks like my dream job. How much will you be making? Yes, not even a congratulations. Huge gaslighters in general. Even though I can appreciate that they love both of us. And they want the best for us. But we didn't come with manual. But I digress. That's a different story. Since I remember myself, my parents always complained to me about each other. I still cringe the amount of times I had to listen to them complaining about the other person instead of talking to each other. Imagine that. Parents that talk to each other to resolve their issues. At some point they split up after years and after both me and my sister moved out. With the agreement that my dad will be giving to my mom €300 a month for her expenses for a couple of years. Dad indeed fulfilled that. And then stopped giving her money. We started with my sister giving her money monthly. And she decided to go after dad for a divorce in order to get some kind of alimony. Or whatever is called when you can't work due to some health issues and your ex-spouse has to provide for you. The court decision was that my dad has to provide for another couple of years the same amount. Due to the fact that he is retired. And mom doesn't work. Sister paid for mom's expenses. And I paid for dad's along with the count that he would have to give on total. So the court expenses. The monthly amount he has to pay for the total of 2 years. Plus the interest that accumulated. Plus some change, total about 10K, all given to him by me and happily since I thought, I am done for a couple of years. So apparently my dad gave the initial amount of money to my mom. And the rest he said that he doesn't have to do so. He insisted on it by shouting at me even when I asked, why the fork did I give you all that money if you are not going to give her? Now I am stuck in a situation where me and my sister provide the same amount of money to our mom. And dad actually did another coutret run to stop giving her the money. Yes, the money that I gave to him. So we paid for everything. And now we are repaying because they are stubborn. I know what should be done. Unfortunately easier said than done. I only wanted to vent as it's been waiting me for some time now. Comment by Yaya Yub C. Stop paying then. You are an adult. So are they. Comment by 3 Heathens Mom. For crying out loud, please stop enabling your parents. You are adults and apparently you live elsewhere, so let your folks know you are divorcing yourself from their relationship with each other as well as you will no longer be providing them with any money. If they have issues they can fight it out between themselves. If they need money they can get a job. Comment by Sloth William Borzoni. Just stop paying. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, and subscribe to our Devil. See you in the next one.